Hi everyone and welcome to the 2014 CAC Men's Soccer Preseason Webcast. I'm Tim Maurer. This webcast will feature each of the 10 conference coaches discussing their outlook for the upcoming year, followed by the release of the preseason poll. The York College Spartans seek their 6th straight CAC Men's Soccer crown this fall after defeating Salisbury 1-0 in last year's title showdown. York and Salisbury both represented the CAC in the NCAA tournament last fall, with Salisbury advancing to the second round and York reaching the Sweet 16. Now let's take a look at each team entering the 2014 season.
I think everybody starts off the season with the same goals, same expectations. We're always excited to get back onto the field with our older guys and also our new recruits. I'm excited to have an older team this year, and I look forward to a good season. So it's very encouraging to me that we have a lot of players that are coming back, and I feel like we're going to have a real good year. Well, we had a couple big players that graduated. They had great seasons. They had also great careers. Caleb Lewis, who now is playing in Sweden, was an all-conference and all-region player. Also Sean Killian, who did a great job for 4 years here. So we're going to miss those two. But we only had 4 seniors last year, and so that's one of the encouraging things that we have going for us that we think will add to our older roster. Well, we're excited starting from the back. We feel like our goalkeeping is going to be very good with junior Nolan Mann. We feel like our defense will be good. They will be older kids, 3 seniors and a junior. And so Tommy O'Neill was an all-conference player last year, leading us in the back. Sean Christine, who was hurt for much of the season last year, back in form. And all-region player Alec Faulkner back there to stabilize the defense. We feel like that's going to be real strong for us. In the middle, we have the Rookie of the Year, Jimmy Grace, and a couple of other real young players, plus we have a foreign transfer that came in. We feel like he's going to add a lot of stability in the middle of the field. Up top, we have All-American Jalen Brown. We're excited about what we hope he's going to be able to do this year. And also Ryan Balfour, who had a great season last year, scored in double digits. So we feel like we have a strong team with the team coming back. Well, we had another really good recruiting class. Most of our kids are from the state of Virginia. I mentioned not only the kid that came in as a transfer, but also we have kids from some of the best club teams in the state of Virginia. Excited about Grandma Baker, excited about guys like Henry Gote from Soka. Also, we'll have a lot of balance on the outsides with players like Andrew Gogolin from Prince William. And really, we have a lot of good players coming in, and so it might be too many to mention, but we're excited about them. Well, the conference is always going to be strong. I think every game is going to be a good game. They were all good last year, and I'm looking forward to playing a lot of good games. We feel like we have a good schedule. Our home schedule is good. We do travel away for a few games, but I'm looking forward to being somewhere competing for the top spot. As far as outside the conference, Rutgers Camden is coming to town, and they finished second in the country last year, so I know that's going to be a big challenge for us. We go to Texas, play against the perennial power Trinity University in San Antonio. We'll play all of the best teams from the USA South and also from the ODAC Conference. So I don't think that we'll have any easy games at all in our schedule. We're going to have to go out and play every game, and hopefully we'll do a good job, and we'll make a season that's worth remembering.
goals are always to make the playoffs. Expectations beyond that is maybe a little hard to say with basically losing 17 players. We've got a lot of things to sort out. So if we can get into the playoffs, ideally, I think 3 or 4 seed, look for that home game, get the bye, puts us in the best chance to, be in a position to win a conference title. I don't think we're going to automatically jump into the 1 or 2 seed. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of work to get there, but I think making the playoffs is definitely our goal, and no matter what the situation is with our team. And the expectations are kind of going to be changing throughout the season based on how these young guys perform and how things kind of come together. But I think, the potential's there. It's just a matter of how early we can start to really sort things out. Well, the number one loss overall is just experience. I mean, we had 13 seniors, which brought a ton of experience. And in those close games on the road, I mean, those guys had been there, done that, attitude, believed in themselves, believed in the team, and it took us a long way. That'll be definitely lacking this year and maybe even next year. But as far as just on the field, ability, obviously 2 all-region players, our key defender Chris Jones, our key forward Pablo Tirano, big losses for us. They were basically the majority of our offense at the same time, even Chris from his center back position. And then on top of that, you have, Jared was probably, an all-conference worthy defender that's gone, and then we have 5 other forwards/wingers that are gone that scored all our goals. Looking at the stats, I think we only have 10 goals coming back from our lineup, so our offense is pretty depleted. So it'll be it'll be interesting to see how we turn this around. We have 4 upperclassmen. One of them didn't even play last year because he redshirted with a knee injury. So getting Brian Whitmore back will be a boost. He would have been part of that senior class, which would have been 14. He's a central midfielder, which we lacked last year, his work rate and his technical ability. Mitchell Muse will be returning. Now, we only got Mitchell back at the end of the season last year, so he only started 5 games. But he was significant in our playoff push last year. And then Joe Clark and Brian Lentini will be the other 2 upperclassmen returning, both seniors who played, started probably half the games, played significant minutes, and but really only 4 upperclassmen if you're just counting juniors and seniors. So it's, again, a pretty young team. Well, that could be hard to say because there's so many. We do have, I think, 8 or 9 freshmen, probably 5 transfers, and a couple of walk-ons we're bringing into preseason to see who surprises us. 5 of the freshmen have played very high-level club ball and should be able to adapt right away. We have a couple other guys that maybe we're right below that tier of soccer and competitive nature, and we'll see how they kind of sort through things. And some of the transfers we actually don't know a lot about, kind of contacted us late, good recommendations, look good on paper, but until we see them on the field, we won't know. But there's going to be a lot of 13, 14 new faces that we'll have to really kind of see who's adjusting and who's fitting in where and filling whatever holes that the team had from the guys that are leaving. Well, the conference schedule is always tough just because I think our conference is fantastic. Conference could be 7 teams deep this year as far as competition goes. We were a 5th seed last year going into the playoffs, and I thought we were a pretty good team. And I think St. Mary's and Wesley are right back in it again this year. So. That puts us probably at 7 deep. On non-conference schedule, I think we increased a little bit. We added Johns Hopkins, who's always strong. We had a Juniata who had a good push in the ECAC tournament, I think was in their conference final. We had a Waynesburg who had a good push in the President's Conference, might have been the 2nd or 3rd place team there. And most of their games stayed the same. So overall, I think we increased our strength of schedule. And I just think our conference is so tough that we don't need too many non-conference games because we've got to get ready for those games in the conference to put us in a position for the playoffs and hopefully that chance to compete for a conference title.
Our goals for this fall are to compete to win the conference championship, the CAC, and receive a bid to the NCAA tournament. Key losses from last year's team: David Heller in the back, one of our center backs, very consistent player in the back. Also, Tommy Sangbusi was in our midfield. He covered a lot of ground, and definitely two of our key losses. and we have a few others there. I think it was a total of 5 seniors who graduated. We have several key returnees in goal, also 2 guys in our back line that played significant minutes, and we have, I think we returned 3 guys in the midfield and 2 starting forwards. Very excited about this fall with the returning guys. Yeah. And we're looking forward to some guys that did not contribute as much past fall, but we're expecting them to step up for this fall too. Our newcomers, we have a very strong freshman class, and we're excited about the fall with them. They're very talented, maybe don't have as much experience obviously in the college game as our returners, but we think they'll bring a lot to our team, and they seem to be gelling nicely with our returning players, and very excited about the fall season. Yeah, we have a difficult schedule. Outside conference matches. The first weekend we'll play Eastern Mennonite and Richard Stockton College, very strong teams. The second weekend we're going to Ohio Wesleyan, who's a national power. We'll play them, and Case Western Reserve University. Also Dickinson College, Keene University, and North Carolina Wesleyan College. Very, very strong opponents. And as you know, our conference is one of the best conferences in the country. So we're very excited and ready to go. We're excited that we had a really strong spring season in the weight room. Our strength coaches have done a great job with our players. They're definitely stronger, mentally stronger, and they did well this spring. We had a tough past spring. And I expect them to compete again right away. And with the experience, we're expecting a lot more out of them. And we know we're young, but we're hungry, and we have a lot of talent. And hopefully, we can bring those, the returners and the young guys together and gel well and to compete for a conference championship in the CAC.
This year we have a pretty young group. My expectations are that we're going to work hard. I think that coming into the season, last year we had a very young group. We started 8 freshmen. I'm expecting that those guys will, with a year of experience under the belt, I think are going to be able to hopefully use that to their advantage and hopefully with the upcoming season that we'll be able to pull together some more wins and be able to be competitive in our conference and non-conference play and be in a position that we would qualify for the CAC playoffs. One of our key losses is Onar Yousefi. Onar had 9 goals last year. Excellent free kick taker. I think that we'll miss his presence in the midfield. I thought that last year he did a great job of controlling the midfield and settling it. Another key loss will be Nick Gruber, who was really a stellar defensive back and did a great job. He was hindered a little bit last year with injuries, but I thought that when he came back and was on the field, I thought that his presence was great. Alexander Cortez, who was our third string goalkeeper, but yet I thought that his leadership provided a great example for our young guys. And I think this year we have a number of key returners. Start off with Jorge Alvarado. Jorge was really our workhorse last year. Just great effort. Last year he did a phenomenal job in the midfield. Defensively, he gets after the ball. He does a great job of pressing, attacking. He had some great goals last year. He's really the engine in the middle that keeps everybody moving. I think Carlos Sanchez is another one. We lost him about mid-season in a game against Salisbury. He tore his ACL, and as soon as he was gone, we missed that presence and his ability to really settle the midfield. And he's a great playmaker, very good off of the dribble and taking players on. But he comes back strong, and we expect some great things from him. I think Ahmed El Nawawi, who played up front for us, young guy, a lot of potential, and I think that we're going to expect some goals and some goal production from him. Those are probably three of the key guys, and then I would say our goalkeeping situation is really stellar. We got Logan Cropper, who started a number of games last year. Kurt Michaels, who also is kind of a very versatile player. He not only can play in the goal and is very technical, but can also play on the field. And at times last year we had to use him as an outside back, and he did a very good job for us there as well. One of the key players, I think, is going to be a young man named Tristan Munoz. Tristan comes from South County High School. Very talented, very good at with passing and seeing the field. Very composed on the ball. I think he'll fit in very nice in the midfield for us. Robert Smith. Robert comes to us from England, and he's a very capable player. Can play in the back, but also has the ability to play in the midfield as well. Gustavo Pinto is a young man who had a stint with DC United's academy program, so we'll look for some things from him as well. Ali Shetta is a young man who's coming here from Egypt, who's a forward. And then we have another young man from Puerto Rico, Jose Burrell. Non-conference play is going to be, again, it will be tough. We intentionally want to play against tougher competition, better team. Our first game of the year is Richard Stockton. Richard Stockton, I think last year, won the ECAC for the Metro region. So we start off with those guys. Easterman and I is always a dogfight with those guys. And then we have Hampton Sydney, which is another very good program from the ODAC. Randolph Methodist is also another program that is always going to be solid. And then Gettysburg. Within our conference, obviously, you've got probably some of the best teams in the region and in the country. Christopher Newport, York College, Salisbury, Mary Washington, Frostburg. All those teams are very competitive and do a great job. St. Mary's is on the rise. I think Wesley is on the rise, and I think Penn State, Harrisburg. I think after one season in the conference, I think that they've acclimated, and I think that they're going to be a very solid program. And even Southern Virginia, I think, because our conference is so good at the top, I think that everybody is moving in that direction. They have to try to work to be better. They have to be faster. They have to be fitter. They have to be more technical, more tactical, because of the standard that is set by some of the teams that are at the top. And I think that it's a good thing, because I think it pushes everybody else to move towards that goal. And so I think that that's a good thing. And I think that the guys in the conference, all the teams have stepped up and are making that progress.
lost some great seniors. Every program does. We lost Justin and Tommy, but we also lost some kids up to University Park just for their major, and that's tough. But they've left their mark here on our program in a positive way. So that's all we can ask. Our key returners, well, to be quite honest, it's everybody, because everybody that came back has a year under their belt in the CAC. They have a year experience with me, knowing what we're looking for. So they're now our leaders, all 15 of them, and they'll pass it on to the newcomers. So I think everybody's key that's coming back from last year, to be quite honest. Our key newcomers this season will be, it's still early in the season, or early in preseason, so it's still a little tough to tell. But we've got some exciting talent for sure coming in. The athletics department's come on so much in the 3 years I've been here, so we're now attracting kids that, we're very, very excited about, and they're excited about coming here. So we'll see. For our non-conference schedule, we have to schedule very tough opponents and tough road trips to prepare us for CAC play. So that's going to be exciting. Every game is going to be a big game and a challenge, and it's going to be preparation for sure. CAC schedule, what can you say? I mean, there's not one easy game in it, and they come thick and fast in October, and it's going to be exciting. But what a way to end the season! It's just we can't wait. For our style of play, for sure in the CAC you got to keep it tight at the back. I mean, these teams they will take advantage of any mistake or weakness you may have. So we'll look to build from the back this year. We want to get forward. We want to commit it. We're never ever going to sit in. That's not going to work for us. The type of player that we recruit and the type of player that we already have. So we're looking to get forward in numbers and create scoring opportunities, and obviously score some more than we did last year. But always trying to keep it tight at the back and be strong in midfield, because that's where most of these big games will be won and lost. So we want to entertain the fans, but also get some wins on the board, which will mean being competitive and strong and focused from our goalkeeper all the way through to our centre forward.
Expectations for the season is to get better as a whole. I feel that we had a little bit of a disappointing year last year, not making the playoffs, and so that's obviously goal number one, is to get into the playoffs. And then again, once you're there, you never know what's going to happen. And so I think number one goal this year is to get there. And then I feel that with the recruits that we have and the strength of the squad this year, I feel that we could do some things in the tournament. Key losses last year, and we had a strong senior class graduate, but the key losses I feel are Austin Brown, our goalkeeper, fantastic goalkeeper, and they're very strong, and was one of our captains, and so losing a leader and a very strong goalkeeper, so that's a key loss. And one of our centre backs, Chris Adams, who graduated, also one of our captains, so we're losing some leadership with regards to the seniors, and so those two are key losses right there this season. Key returners this year, well, we had a very good off-season, a very good spring and then into the summer, so I think the returners in general have improved, but I feel the key returners this year, defensively, Alex Dreisen, our senior centre-back, I think he's going to be key in there, very strong, one of our captains as well. In the midfield, Nick Tate, he was second team All-Conference last year, looking for him to step his game up again and improve. And judging by this pre-season, he's done a very good job at that. And then attacking-wise, I feel we've got some leadership up there. Matt Braun, a senior midfield, senior attacker, also a captain, who we're looking for big things again this year. So.
Well, with regards to key newcomers this year, from top to bottom, this is probably one of our best recruiting classes. And so we're looking for all of them to come in and push the returners as much as possible, create that competition in the squad, which again is what we strive for to make the program better. I feel that all of them will be able to contribute throughout the year. And so we're really excited from top to bottom with regards to our newcomers this year. As far as our non-conference schedule is concerned, I like it. I think it prepares us well for conference play. You know, we play the likes of Catholic and Brockport State, both very, very strong teams last year, you know, knocking on the door to being nationally ranked, if not nationally ranked. But across the board, I think the non-conference schedule is going to prepare us well for the conference. As far as conference play is concerned, well, you know, we play in a very tough conference from top to bottom. Every game is a battle. Every game is competitive. You know, with the likes of York and Salisbury, who you know, are ranked pre-season, nationally ranked pre-season, and the likes of Mary Wash and the Christopher Newports and the Frostbergs. It's going to be a tough year again. But our goal again this year is to get into the playoffs and to be able to compete with these teams.
Well, I think our goals and expectations have been consistent over the years. We want to be competitive and try to win a Capital Athletic Conference championship. Obviously then get an invitation to the NCAA tournament and hopefully make a deep run into the NCAA tournament. On top of that, we'd like to also make sure that our guys have an enjoyable season. They appreciate what it's like to be part of a team, a competitive team, and that they build these friendships that they'll keep for life. There were some key losses last year. We lost 6 seniors. All 6 of them were contributors throughout the course of their 4 years and as well as last year. Probably our biggest loss is Larry Cornish, who was an all-conference and all-regional player. Very important player for us in defense and attacking in the midfield. We lost Chase Humphreys, one of our wide backs. Again, a 2-year all-conference player, a very good player. We lost Jake Perry, probably our motor guy last year, central midfielder, was able to get up and down the field and gave us lots of energy. We lost Elliot Crompton, one of our quicker forwards, scored some key goals for us last year. We lost Trevor Sharp, another one of our front runners who was a pretty important member of our team. And we lost Adam Quigley, graduated. We're pretty fortunate this year in that we were fortunate last year to have 6 players named to the all-conference team. We returned 5 of those 6 players for this year's team. So even though we lost some pretty important players last year, we returned some pretty good players, and I think the person that is you know, they're all important, but Steve Porman, who came into his own last year as a center midfielder for us, scored some crucial goals for us. Was able to find a role in that center midfield. He really excelled from the year before where he got minimal playing time. So he's one. A second key returning player is Tanner East, who last year exploded with some key goals. Actually, between Tanner and Steve, they combined for 8 game-winning goals last year. Tanner was our leading scorer last year. I know he's worked hard in the summer, so he's a very important player for us. Our twin center back pair of Kyle Westbrook and Logan Becker, both returned, both all-conference players. Those two developed a symmetry and a pairing among themselves where they could think through each other's ideas, and that caused and provided us with, a great defensive group last year, one of the top 10 in the country. And then the other key returning player is Drew Stadley, and Drew was obviously the all-conference goalkeeper, a guy who got maybe 25 minutes his freshman year in the goal and came out of preseason last year and just had a phenomenal season for us and was in the top 10 in most goalkeeper categories last year. In addition to that, we returned some other players who have been very important to us in the past. Matt Green is a key goal scorer. Jeff Burns in the back, very important player for us. And there are a number of others in there, but while we lose some, we return a pretty good group of players. This is going to be a really competitive camp for us. This is a year where we have more transfers almost than we've had freshmen in terms of incoming players. So it's hard to identify a key player in there other than to say that some of our transfer players, they come from junior colleges, they come from other Division III schools, they come from Division I schools. As long as they're able to make that transition and are able to help us pretty quickly, I think they will be could be very important players for us. Additionally, some of our freshmen, while they're not large or great in numbers, there's some guys who could be very important for us down the road. We add some speed in with some of our freshman players. We add some pretty good experience, guys who played pretty high level. So I'm not trying to be coy about it, but it's really hard to pinpoint one or the other. We'll just see how camp goes. Well, scheduling is a challenge for many of our teams here at Salisbury, and it's a challenge for the men's soccer team. We try to put together the best schedule we can. Our non-conference schedule, I think, is pretty competitive this year. We play the College of Brockport in our opening season tournament. We play both Baldwin Wallace and Bridgewater at St. Mary's tournament. We have Catholic and NCAA team last year. We have Roanoke, we've got NC Wesleyan, and William Patterson, all very good competitive Division III teams. CAC conference is a soccer conference, on the men's side and the women's side, I think both, has become one of the better conferences in the country. So between the likes of Christopher Newport, York, Mary Washington, Frostburg, those are all and always will be very competitive games for Salisbury. Additionally, St. Mary's had a great recruiting class from what I can tell. Marymount, always competitive. Wesley returns most of their players. New coach at Southern Virginia, as well as the coach at Penn State Harrisburg in that rich central Pennsylvania region. So we expect every conference game to be a pretty competitive match. And it's just a matter of who's on that day, in terms of is your team ready to play on that day? Are they prepared for that team better than the other team? And I think that most of those matches could go either way.
Our team's goals for the 2014 season are, first of all, we want to make the playoffs. And it's our first time that we have the opportunity to be in the Capital Athletic Conference playoffs, and so we want to be one of the top 6 teams, and that's our long-term goal. I think short-term, we want to make a lot of waves. We want to really show that we belong in the NCAA and in the conference. Last year we had Adam Freeman. I believe he had 9 goals on the season, and he was the leading scorer for the last 2 years. So I believe it's a big loss to our team, and unfortunately we would have loved to have him come back. And he didn't even play the whole season last year, so I think that's going to be impactful in 9 goals in the short amount of time that he played. And going into this year, we only have one senior, Max Doxey, and we're going to look to him to be leader on and off the field for our guys, and especially for our young team that we have. Yeah, our returners, the guys that are coming back, we have, we don't have that many. We have probably 6 to 8 guys, and even less of those have played last fall. We have some spring returners. And Carlos Munoz, he played a lot of games last year, and he was injured most of the time. And I think he has a little bit more help this year. This time around, the recruits, he's going to have a little bit more help. Max played last year. Court Cox was impactful last year. He kind of was a utility player, played wherever Coach Garlock had him, and I think he's going to do really well this year. Being a second year, and he's more of a, even though he's a sophomore, he's more of a senior player, being one of the older players. And then we have some guys that just got off their missions, and so I think they're going to bring some maturity to our team. And since we're so young, I think that's going to be extremely helpful. I'm excited about our incoming class this year. I think that's probably the one thing I'm extremely excited about is who we have coming in and what we're going to build the program on. And I get even more excited thinking about 2016 and who we're going to be then because of the guys we have now and who's coming in now. We have a pair of twins coming from Utah. They're transfer students. They previously played in the NCAA. And then our freshman class is just outstanding. For the short amount of time we've had to recruit them, I think that they're going to do really well. And again, I'm really excited about who they're going to be in 2016 as juniors and how this team is going to turn out to be. But all of our players coming in, I think we have 10 to 12 on the incoming recruits, and they're going to be so impactful, not just in the soccer field, but I think in the school as well, academically. And then I really think that we're going to have a great season with these guys coming in and kind of a combination of the young, and then we have our older returners. I just get so excited when I think about who we have coming in. So we have 20 games this season, and that's a lot of games for 2 months. We're playing 2-3 games a week without any rest. So it's going to be a tough schedule, and the latter half of that is our conference, and the Capital Athletic Conference has teams like York. I believe they're ranked number 9, and then we have Salisbury, and they're ranked number 19, and so we play some great competition the latter part of our season, and so that brings up injury concerns in the first part of our season, taking care of our bodies and making sure that we can last through 20 games. I think this is the most games that this team has played in the past 5 years. I think they've had 14 and 16 and 17, but never 20. And then the first part of our season, we play a lot of teams from the ODAC, and I'm excited to play teams like W&L and to play some higher quality teams and Randolph and have that opportunity to kind of prepare us. So again, competition is going to be extremely tough. But I think it'll be good for our team to kind of see where we measure and where we're at as a program and prepare us not just for this year but for the years coming.
Number one for us, we just want to compete every game. Obviously, we know who's supposed to be better, who we're supposed to beat, but rarely are those things always exact. I think for us, it's be prepared for each game, and then just come out and play and compete and believe in ourselves. Yeah, look, we're fortunate. We were the youngest team in the conference, I think, and certainly from the point of view of struggling a little bit sometimes with experience. It hurt us last year, but this year really no excuses. We lose Mark Madden, I think a super goalkeeper, great goal stopper, super on his line, and that's something obviously we have to make up for. I think in Colonel Ryan Saunders, I think we have a guy that had an excellent spring. a popular teammate, and he's someone that's earned a chance to start. Look, people are going to push him, but he's got a chance, and a chance I think to be really, really good. So look, Q Manwu Farmer, he's graduated and gone, and he was an exciting lad, but there's lots of other talent coming through. That's the nature of this game. You work to get guys to improve, and you work to see them graduate, and as soon as they do, you wish them best of luck, and now there's another group ready to take their spot. I expect a lot from all of them. Lads that perhaps people don't know, I expect them to improve, and one of them is going to actually end up having to really, somewhere, I don't know who, end up stepping into a game. Maybe it's the first day, maybe it's starting a playoff game. They're all expected to do a lot more. Look, our captains are going to be Sheldon Blue and Sean Gorman, young men that definitely got a lot better each year. So how much better they'll get this year, we'll see. Sheldon was all confidence at the back, and Sean's played a lot of different roles for us, and sometimes that utility man is as useful as they are, it's not always helped them in their development, but for sure he does whatever we want. And then the third captain will be Robert RJ Diener, and just love RJ and his potential to make other players around him better. Yeah, I think there was both him and Iman Ameo really could have been ones picked. I think they both have an extremely sort of high potential, ceiling for their potential, and we'll see how they do. For both of those lads, they need to appreciate that there will be no surprises. There won't be surprising opponents now. And that there is some pressure on them, that people talk about sophomore sort of slumps that people have, that second year, are they still hungry, can they learn to work with other players? I think that individually they've both done really well, and perhaps their greatest, how well they do this year, the success this year they have will depend on how they work with other players, even how they work with each other. I know it's tough for all freshmen. It's not a matter how good you were, how athletic you were. You've now got to do that under a new coach, new demands, new teammates. You're doing it away from home, and trying to manage time and get to classes. It's tough for them. But look, there's some lads that obviously we're hopeful for, and someone like a Blair Carrico from Jersey, a lot of potential there. Brad Howe from Maryland. He's going to be, we're looking for someone to sort of fill that number 10 role a little bit for us and create more from other people, but someone's got to put the ball in the net too. Not quite sure how we'll work that out, tactics wise. Look, there's a whole list of lads I could mention, but we're excited to see them all. There's always someone that disappoints, to be honest with you, but there's always a nice surprise as well. Preseason practices, I think it's just we have competition within the squad, so that's one good thing. As I said right at the very beginning, you have to learn to compete, whether it's with your own demons sometimes and your tiredness, but also with obviously opponents. But you're also competing with your own teammates. You've got to be better than them to get on the field, but then you've got to shake their hand afterwards and be a good teammate. So they're all learning that. I think it's up to us as coaches to prepare guys, whether it be the physical part of practices and pushing them, obviously set pieces, the organisation defensively, and trying to find some ways to get a little bit of flair and break down some of the great teams we play in the CAC. We only have one scrimmage, but we'll have a whole 10 or so games throughout September to prepare ourselves, and during those games a couple of very tough tournaments, a few NCAA tournament teams on there, and I like it. Everyone wants to play the best teams they can, so we're excited.
A couple things that we're looking for with this year is to first set the standard high as soon as the season starts, get better each day. We want to look to compete for the CAC title. once again reach the NCAAs and be on the short list of the best teams in the country. Obviously, some of the players that have returned that have gotten some honors. Brendan Saberton was our leading scorer last year, all-conference. Ryan Donahue's an all-conference player. A couple of the underclassmen who have, or upperclassmen who have returned. Charlie Verson, Justin Kaiser, Patrick Ward are amongst some of the players that should make an impact this year. We've had a bunch of freshmen that have come in and a few transfers. Matt Frybaum, Joel Teston from Virginia Commonwealth, and Ben Jacks from Coastal Carolina should make some pretty good impact on the team early on. We'll get an early season test with Virginia Wesleyan and F&M in our first tournament. Two top 25 teams, obviously our local rival Messiah College. And then in the CAC, obviously Salisbury, Christopher Newport, Mary Washington, and Frostburg are amongst the teams that'll be very competitive for us on our schedule. We're definitely looking for team unity and a drive for success with our program, the continued strive to be the best that we possibly can, and if that happens, we're going to be good.
The 2014 season kicks off on Friday, August 29th, with CAC play set to begin on Saturday, September 27th, and the CAC Championship set for Saturday, November 8th. Thanks for tuning in to the 2014 CAC Men's Soccer Preseason Webcast. Check back to cacsports.com throughout the season for all of your men's soccer news around the conference.